There have always been tales of ratmen, creatures not quite like beastmen, but something else altogether. It is true that once, a long time ago, there were reports that such beings were actually considered a threat to the Empire, but, as always, mankind rallied and drove such creatures back into the darkness from whence they came. Many feel these creatures were simply a strange alteration of beastmen, and it's clear today that they were not strong enough to survive after we rightfully purged them from the Empire almost 400 years ago. But the truth is, yes, there have been reports for at least 100 years of unusual sightings in the Empire. Strange creatures skulking in the darkness, watching. There are several confidential reports that some attacks in recent time have not actually been down to regular beastmen, but something else. The old myths gave them a name. Skaven. But I am sure whatever threat they present to the Empire is not something that we cannot handle. So if I were you, I wouldn't worry too much about it, and I wouldn't maybe talk too much about it. Wouldn't want people thinking you've lost your mind now, would you? This is Red Moon Roleplaying. Despite the late hour, the picket is still extremely busy. The battle, for now, may be over. There is a lot of work to be done. Soldiers are doing their best to repair that keep door, or at least make something that can blockade it until a proper door can be put back in. Several other soldiers are on the walls getting patrols ready, and many other soldiers are beginning to gather bodies. Bodies of the fallen, and bodies of the enemy. The bodies of the enemy being placed outside the walls and being burned, while the bodies of fallen soldiers are being gathered in a different location, beyond the river. There they'll be burned in the morning, but also given proper ceremony. It does seem as if this picket has a single priest of more, so at least they will receive proper burial rites. All in all, plenty of soldiers moving around, mainly setting up tents. No one will be sleeping in the barracks tonight. After all, they're all still on alert. But for the moment, that's it. There are no more foes coming from the east, although something is still happening in the east. Kruger Hoffman has decided to take a few people eastwards. He's always the curious sort, wanting to see what's going on. For you, Siegfrieda and Heinrich, that's all happening in the background. You have decided, Siegfried, it is vital that Heinrich be got into one of the last cots available of the 20 that are in this makeshift tent city that makes the medical area. Currently, it's calmer than it was, Siegfrieda. There are some groans of pain, some groans of discomfort, and some bodies, of course, being taken away. It's full to capacity. But the apprentices under your instruction are finally starting to bring some order to this place, and it's finally starting to feel a bit more like a normal hospital, and not a hospital on the brink of a battle. Still, with Erica at your side, what are you doing, Siegfrieda? What are you making of the situation, and how are you trying to help your friend, Heinrich?
Well, if it isn't already clear, it has been quite a day. I've been treating, more patients than I have been able to keep track of, as well as organising this tent full of physicians, most of whom are apprentices at best. While I am unaware of the effects, internal, spiritual or otherwise, I know that something near the close of the battle changed me. I'll put it down to tiredness right now, exhaustion. as I lead Heinrich to one of the beds. Luckily, there is some space. We've been keeping a quite good turnover. Anyone who can stand and leave has been able to do so. Those who are dying have already been helped along. Please take a seat, Heinrich. Let's have a look at this arm of yours.
Oh, only if you promise to not do doctor voice the whole time. I will say as I, not limp, because it's not my legs that are injured, but slough down into the appointed seating.
I'm sorry, it's been... Well, you know how it's been. You've been out there fighting.
I think you've gotten the worst of it. All I had to do was go read books and get yelled at by nuns.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know that I got the worst of it. Let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this arm, then. I will gently try to remove your sleeve. In fact, if it is just if it's a cloth outfit, I will cut it free. I'm not going to try and undress you. Don't want to interfere with the injury at all.
Yes, underneath, given the weapon that did the damage, I imagine this is a disgusting bludgeoning wound?
Yes, that's right. The impact of the wound was what caused most of the damage. Your armor, thankfully, made sure you didn't get the brunt of those sharp talons.
So we've got a puffy situation with some very interesting blues and purples, and the bone might be a little bit out of place.
Yes, it does look like your arm is probably broken, or at least fractured. I imagine some of the muscle is torn. There's not a great deal we can do in terms of fixing it here and now. Luckily, while you do have some grazes on the surface, some splits in the skin, you're not bleeding heavily, so that is reassuring, but that doesn't mean you're not bleeding inside. I'm not saying this to panic you, Heinrich. I think the best thing we can really do for you right now is try and at least set your arm. We're not going to be able to do it in any kind of permanent or long-lasting way here, but we can at least give you a sling and some alcohol to take the pain away, or at least take your mind off of it.
You're the doctor.
Yeah, I'm not trying for some kind of revolutionary surgery here. I'm not going to embark upon a career in keyhole surgery in the realm of Warhammer fantasy, but I am going to try and make Heinrich as comfortable as possible. My experience of these kinds of crushing injuries is that, well, for one thing, this is not the place to be performing intricate surgery, but for another, right now, he just needs his arm supported and put in position so that if the fixing can start occurring over the next few days, maybe even weeks, it's not going to heal itself up in an awkward shape.
Exactly. Please make a normal, challenging heal roll.
It's a good roll to start the session. Is a 4 out of 73.
Then you've just healed 6 wounds. As Siegfrieda does what she does best. She makes you comfortable, she takes care of you, and from your point of view, Siegfrieda, this could have been far worse, but you have to admit, armor sometimes does its job. Several places where you think laceration should have occurred, it's actually just mild bruising, and you think some of the blood, on closer inspection, is not actually his. And made the wound look a little worse than it maybe should have.
Well, that will become clear as I do my best to clean the wound, or have one of the attendants do that. I don't need to get in the business right now of rubbing his arm down with medicinal alcohol. Other people can do that.
Indeed. And so you treat Heinrich.
What was it? If it's not too stupid a question, Heinrich, what did you see out there? Did you see any reason for why this attack occurred just now? Was there a signal? Obviously I was there, but I came running in this direction. What did you witness beyond the bloodshed?
I don't mean to disappoint you, Siegfrieda, but the bloodshed was pretty much the long and the short of it.
No, that makes sense.
There were hordes of them. I know Kruger, who has gotten off to somewhere. He's the one who had the better outlook. You were in the room. We heard the alarm, and then I went and did my thing. I don't remember seeing any commander. There didn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to it. There's a horde of these rat beast things, and then the bigger one.
Please drink this. Where do you... you are a more, let's call it, faithful individual than I. I just keep thinking either this world of ours is completely saturated in ruin and chaos, or we are incredibly unlucky to keep being at the heart of it, or, and this is where the subject of faith, belief comes in, are we somehow instrumental in all of this? As in you, I, Kruger, Gurner. Did this happen? 50 years of no activity, and then the day we come to visit.
I don't see why a few of those things couldn't be true at the same time, I suppose. It's not a question of faith for me. And I take your point. It is a bit strange that day after day we see evidence of all that is wrong and evil, but there's no divine intervention of good. There are no titans of Sigmar out on the field of battle beating back the forces of the archenemy, not since the legends.
Well, except for people like you.
Giving me a bit too much credit, I think.
Not to mention you did see your dear interrogator, Bertha. Her staff did occasionally glow.
The minor miracles are one thing, but I guess the answer to your question is I honestly don't know. And it's that uncertainty is why I can't call myself a truly faithful person. The priests never doubt, right?
And
in my case, I can, just like that battle, I can deal with what's in front of me. I can see that. As for our role in front of it, I suppose it's, I don't know which question to answer first.
It's just something I've been considering, that's all.
It certainly is a bit of a mystery. After all, both of you only saw what you saw. An incomplete picture. But maybe none of that matters. Your mission, after all, was to come to this place, warn the people of some sort of danger, and get them to listen. And they did. You wonder what would have happened if you hadn't been here and this attack had happened. The cannons would not have been ready, the soldiers would have been in the barracks, not out on the walls. It could have been far worse. Then, of course, there was that green explosion. Something neither of you two at this point would have any idea what it even was. You didn't even truly see it, just its aftermath. That was Gurner Stark who saw its source. For now, though, Siegfrieda, you see someone trying to get your attention. It is your apprentice. She's tired and grubby looking, but she's readied the paperwork, which she's handing to you. An important thing. This, after all, is the paperwork that determines how many things have been used, who has been put in which bed. Mistakes here can actually be just as dangerous as mistakes with the hand. Would you like to make an evaluate roll, please, as you look over what's happened tonight and try and assess where treatments and supplies must go now?
Okay, that is 1 degree of success now.
1 degree of success is enough. It's not the best. You're tired. You can see some areas where you almost might have made a mistake, but you're able to correct them. Everyone's going to get what they need, and due to your role, you haven't saved any additional people, but you haven't lost any more people either. You've done good enough, but you are tired. Very tired. What do you do, Siegfrieda? What do you tell your apprentice?
I know it's a bit late in the day to be saying this to you, Lear, but well done. Genuinely, you've done They won't say it back in the city, but the administration is as important as the treatment in many ways. and you kept up with these things where I, frankly, did not have a mind to. So I will be sure when I put my final recommendation into the Physicians Guild to note this occasion.
You have my thanks, Doctor. I don't know, I'd never seen anything like it. I hope I never do again. I don't know if I'm cut out for being a war surgeon.
Well, I don't think any of us crave this, but you handled yourself more than adequately. Everyone here did, but I, of course, am responsible for praising and criticising you, and I have no criticism to give.
You have my thanks, Doctor.
Get some rest, Lear. It sounds like you are about to drop on your feet. Just make sure you don't drop all the paperwork with it.
Alright, well, I'll quickly see that this all gets sent to... Yeah, I'm glad you were able to check the numbers. It's important. They barely have anything. It's Sigmar's will that we were able to have enough bandages and enough medicine.
Yeah, Sigmar's will, I'm sure. It was his will. Well, yes, get these to a messenger. They look as accurate as I can tell. Honestly, I couldn't say for a certainty how many bandages we used and how many potions and medicines we applied, but it looks right, and that's about all we can say.
Certainly. And as she goes off, you have time to reflect for a moment on the data you've just been given. Tonight, over 50 wounded have come into your little tent. It seems, of those, only 10 have finally passed on due to your skills. Although, in your assessment, maybe another 10 probably are no longer fit for duty, but at least they're alive. Meanwhile, Gurna Stark. The camp is abuzz with activity. It's probably quite late at night now, but the soldiers around here show no signs of getting a major rest anytime soon. There is work to be done, but you were ambling about. You wanted to find the commander. What are you actually doing now? It does seem as if the battle is over, at least.
It does seem so. But the night has been full of surprises so far. I can't really afford to let down my guard unless I have to. I see the wary looks, of course, that's cast towards my steed. I put it a little bit away, but I decide that if something should happen, if I had to ride quickly for whatever reason, I'll let it be there until it naturally dissipates, until the morning. I'll just get off and try and find the commander. There's been so many things going on. We thought we were victorious. We charged out and we cheered. We were surrounded, and then from the south... I wonder what's to the south. Where could that green light, that enormous, and what was it? I try and rack my brain. Was it... Did it have any shadows of magical energies or the winds that I would know of?
Roll a law magic roll. Give yourself a plus 10.
Nah, still a failure.
There was something familiar about it, but there was also something not familiar about it. As if it was something you've never personally encountered. But it must have been some sort of spell, right? It can't have just been black powder. Something quite devastating. It was too dark to see, but you know, you feel. Did that wipe out half of that army? It didn't wipe out all of them. You did remember in the confusion you could see they were retreating. There was still something left to retreat, but that force you saw coming suddenly just was no longer there.
And yet they were all around us. The ones that surrounded us. And still it didn't touch us. That magic, it only touched them. Peculiar. It's almost like... Well, obviously they were targeted, but why them? I think of all this as I ask my way around. The commander. Where's the commander?
You eventually are directed to the commander, she's extremely busy. She's surrounded by soldiers. You see her dear second-in-command. You're starting to think that priestess, the one of Myrmidia, nearby, and she's just commanding people to man the walls, barricade that hole in the wall. You eventually can make your way through, though, and she'll just turn. Yes, what?
Priestess Hildegund, Commander Emmeline, I come straight from the front of the lines, and, well, I'm not sure how much of the reports have been relayed to you yet about the forces seeming completely disintegrated from another direction from the south. Some sort of magic, perhaps.
Magic from the south? All right, well, you're the wizard. What does that mean?
Well, we were all charging out cheering when that great big beast was felled, and we thought we were just clearing up the remains, but then it turned out we were surrounded by a whole lot more of them, more hundreds of them. And then it happened in a great green flash. All I can say, it was likely very specifically targeted at them, at those who we were fighting. I couldn't say exactly what kind of magic it was, for it was not one of the Empire, not normal practice by any means.
Chaotic, then. So the enemy's to the east, but you said the south. Maybe a misfire?
No, I don't think so. I think this was very targeted.
Well, the commander just holds up a hand and nods. Well, good then. The enemies of our enemies can kill each other for all I care. Anything else vital? I'm very busy here. You can... Hildegund can take from here. Sorry, wizard, unless you have something vital. I'm trying to build the wall back here.
And I think to myself, is there anything else I could say? I think the only most important thing is that we seem to be safe for now.
That certainly makes sense. Again, you could maybe continue with the priestess. She comes forward and seems more willing to listen. You simply think the commander is a bit busy at this point in time. Maybe anything else will have to wait for the morning.
Yeah, I give a courteous a bow, and I back away from the commander so that I can talk to Priestess Hildegund instead.
She comes forward. She has a bit of blood splatter on her, but otherwise seems fine. Again, she's been clearly using that spear of hers. Okay, I'm sorry, it's Colonel Stark, yes? What you say is interesting, but what can I say? Do you know why another force would be attacking? I suppose sometimes the arch-enemy's forces are not always aligned, but it seems strange that they would not have hit us with such a... I don't know what it was, something devastating.
Well, from all I have seen here so far with my time at the picket is that the attacks and the magic that has been used around here, that seems to be this particular force, they have this green tinge of quality to them. This is what I saw as well. Just before our attack, it seemed, from what I saw through the telescope, was that it seemed like the tower itself was being attacked by this very same force. Same flashes of green and that green fire. So
well, those are all, from my understanding at least, hallmarks of chaos, magic, and possibly warpstone. Not that I know much of that.
Yes. This is my theory as well. I think they're hunting for warpstone. I understand this does not immediately concern you here at the picket.
Not really, but it is worth considering. It is also strange, isn't it, as you've said. Why did they split their forces? Because as you said, it seems this force was attacking us and the keep at the same time. But why? If they had focused their forces, they may have taken either target. By splitting their forces, they took none.
That's right. I didn't quite see how the attack panned out. Were you able to get any more... see anything else from there? Were they driven off then from the tower as well?
Kruger is trying to get some more information, but from what I have seen myself, they have not taken that place either. And they didn't need a strange large explosion to defend themselves.
Perhaps they overestimated their own capabilities, thinking they could take both at the same time.
It is possible, yes, and with that weapon fire, as you said, at them. Well, either we are dealing with... well, There is a saying among Myrmidians that sometimes false moves can belie the intelligence of a foe. It is possible we were lucky and are simply dealing with a fool. But I don't know. What if there was something more to it?
No, perhaps it is not much to be gleaned from just thinking about. I myself would be curious to see where that force came from the south. What exactly lies down there?
The Middle Mountains. I'm afraid I can tell you little more than that. The dwarf may know more, but with the Middle Mountains, they are not very well charted on account of them being, well, highly dangerous mountains. Dwarven holds used to be there, I believe, long, long ago, but these days it is the domain of goblins, trolls, wyverns, beasts, and, well, winter. Landslides, blizzards. It's very difficult to get through the Middle Mountains, and she gestures to the south, and we are, well, that is what is directly south.
Alright, well, I thank you for your time. I'm not sure that there is anything else that we could assist with at this point, me and my companions.
Oh, I think you have done more than enough, friends. If you hadn't come, I dread to think what would have happened. And she gestures to some of the soldiers, and you can see them giving you a bit of an eye. She leans forward. I think your friends are going to get quite the hero's welcome in the morning. Not so much yourself, but I saw what you did. Maybe it wasn't pretty, but it was necessary. Some of the soldiers sadly will not see that, though, but, well, on my part, your partaking of the battle was appreciated, wizard, even if no one else is going to thank you for it.
I slightly incline my head, and I say, well, I will happily take yours and Myrmidia's blessing with me when I go then.
And with that she nods and says, I have prepared some rooms for you and your friends in the southernmost barracks. Most of the soldiers will not be there tonight, so you'll have the place to yourself. I think maybe you should get some rest, Gurner. It has been a very long night. In the morning, I will arrange some supplies for your trip back to... Well, I suppose you'll be heading back to Middenheim.
I suppose so. We'll await new orders. Well, good night then, Priestess Hildegund, and I shall see you on the morrow.
And she nods. What do you do, Gurner? You are quite tired. Do you head to your bed for now? Or do you do something else? It is quite late at night now.
Yes, it's been a long day. I am exhausted, both from the whole getting here, riding in the coach, and everything else that's been on my mind besides the entire battle. I think since we've been designated a place to ourselves, I'll go there first and see if I get woken up when the others arrive.
Indeed you will, and you'll find some small makeshift rooms ready, and do your best to maybe start getting some sleep. Heinrich, Schilf, what are you doing? For the moment, your actions are a little limited. You have been ordered, well, maybe you've been requested by Siegfrieda that you probably should remain in this hospital cot, at least for the night. But that doesn't mean you have to do that. All around you are the wounded, although it does seem as if Siegfrieda has caused quite a bit of order to come to this medical tent. Most people seem like they're being treated and are going to recover. But what are you trying to do? Or what are you thinking?
The first thought I suppose I have is it's really impressive to see how far Siegfrieda has come in her craft. She's always struck me as I suppose it's just a consequence of the kind of situations that we find ourselves in, but whenever we're together, she has always been the one that follows into battle and lets other people take the lead down every stairwell. But watching the way that she has run this ward fills me with a little bit of satisfaction. It's nice to see that she's found agency in that way.
Indeed. And as you're thinking that you're visited by Emmeline. They come in, looking in surprisingly better shape than you. A few scratches here and there, but otherwise they seem to have barely taken a scratch in that fight, although they definitely did their part. They sit by you for a moment. Well, Inquisitor, that was something, wasn't it?
That was a great amount of something. You'll have to, teach me a thing or three. Seems like you got the better end of it. Gesturing from my bad arm to their good arms with a bit of a grin.
Now, Inquisitor. Come on, we've trained. I just so happen to be slightly better when it comes to smacking things with this hammer. I know you train with that fancy little rapier, and it is good for one-on-ones, but, well, for situations like this, what can I say?
Like I said, plenty to learn, but I'm glad we've made it all together in one piece. Is Bertha fine? Have you seen her?
Yeah, she's alright. She wanted some time to pray, you know her. She was a little shaken, confronting the enemy of chaos head-on and winning, but she'll be fine. I think she'll be fine. And, well, you know, you're gonna have a nice time in the morning before we all go. Have you heard all the gossip going around the soldiers? You probably haven't, actually. I've been having a little keeping my ear open.
The interrogator never loses their step. No, I've been here on doctor's orders, and I'll make a show of looking around for Sigfrida like I'm afraid.
That makes sense. No, it's about you, sir. You and Kruger, and even a little bit for Lady Wittgenstein. Not much for that wizard, though, but, well, I mean, did you see what he did? Like, I guess it was useful, but why did he have to ride around on a bloody demon? I mean, is that allowed? They're allowed to ride demons? I know it looks like a horse, but it's no horse I've ever seen.
I assure you, Emily, we will have more difficult decisions to make in the future. For now, if the man wants to ride a shadowy horse while saving us from tides of ratmen, I think that we can let that slide.
I suppose it just wasn't bloody natural. At least I've heard, like, some of them throw fire. I mean, I get fire. I don't know what he was doing. Anyway, you're right, all right, as long as he's behaving himself. But you and Kruger, oof, it's all turned round. Everyone's saying how all those rumours were all false, and actually you lot probably saved the day. True heroes. Hell, you went up against that bloody thing almost single-handedly. You've made quite the impression, sir.
Emphasis on single-handedly. It's not all glory. Sometimes it's batters and bruises. But so long as the troops have something to celebrate, I suppose. It's not entirely over, though. Sigfrida was asking me if I'd seen anything on the battlefield. My field of view was a bit full of ogre. Did you see anything else strange while we were out there?
Well, the whole thing was strange, wasn't it, sir? I mean, bloody beast men suddenly popping out of the ground. I mean, I've never heard them do that before, but I guess it could happen. And then, yeah, and also the fact that they didn't come from that bloody keep, that nasty place, which must have been some sort of tactic, but it all fucked up, eh? That big explosion, I reckon they must have misfired one of their catapults or something. A very big one, mind you. But whatever it was, it's not happening anymore, so good for us, eh?
Oh, small victories. No, I don't think that was it. I think she was getting towards something else, something she had seen and wasn't willing to share until I brought it up first. Well, and is there any news from the front? I know that there was activity at the keep. Have we seen anything happening there?
I don't know. I reckon that was Kruger's purview. I mean, I went and had a quick look. Some of the soldiers are saying that it's all almost over there. Again, it seems like these idiots attacked two places at once. Bloody morons, but I suppose they are beastmen.
Oh, well, if you've focused a bit more on the grander battles than the smaller ones, there is yet value in a feint. If there was something up at the keep that wanted to be left alone, not interrupted by forces from the picket, a charge like that would certainly do the job.
I suppose that makes sense. Yeah, it's chaos, not that they care about their own. Yeah, I don't know though, but yeah, you'd have to go look, sir. I'm just concerned with, well, what we do next. I guess we're heading off in the morning. We've done our mission, technically.
Well, that remains to be seen. I expect we'll have to hear from Kruger and the wizard before we can make that choice.
Alright, well, anyway, me and Bertha were going to try and get some sleep. I guess you'll be sleeping here then.
Well, until such time that I'm able to sneak out, yes.
But otherwise, sir, I could say that it's all looking quite clear. I reckon they're building up a premature door or something, or a gatehouse. They're burning all the dead. Yeah, I reckon we've saved the day.
So it seems. I wasn't paying too terrible much attention in the class where they taught me how to recognize the achievements of those who serve under me. I'm fresh out of medals, Emmeline, but I want you to know you did well.
Well, thank you, Inquisitor. It means a lot. Now, honestly, happy to serve. I was a bit unsure coming here, but you can't say killing beastmen is not a good thing, even though it's not our speciality.
I assure you, if the future of my adventure has anything in common with the past, there'll be plenty more opportunities to carve up the forces of the archenemy.
And Emmeline takes their leave. What do you do, Heinrich? Do you settle down for the night? Or try and get up and go somewhere?
Siegfrieda's question has lodged itself firmly in the front of my brain, and I wasn't kidding. I didn't want to confirm anything that Siegfrieda had seen because I was wondering if Siegfrieda would share a little more. But I don't think the attack was random. I know that much is true. Our timing, set that aside, but I'm convinced something has happened up in that keep, or is currently happening up in that keep, and that all of this mess we've created was just a distraction, something to keep attention away.
Certainly seems possible. What would you like to do? Would you like to grab Siegfrieda's ear again after she's finished doing something? Or would you like to, for yourself, maybe quickly get out of that tent? You don't need to strain yourself and just check the wall situation.
I don't want to drag Siegfrieda back into it right yet, because I don't have any new information. But if I could escape the tent, perhaps under a pretense of having to relieve myself and being far too dignified for a bedpan or something like that, I'm assuming there's a separate area where the scouts convene, that they wouldn't be mingling among the line troops.
There is, and you can go and investigate that if you wish.
Yeah, I'd just like to visit the tent, and I understand that the scouts are all out scouting, but surely there is someone here whose job it is to accumulate reports or dispatch teams, right? Not a commander or a sergeant or something of this particular group.
There would indeed be. So if you wish, that is what you can do. But let us go back to Siegfrieda for a moment. Siegfrieda, you are still hard at work. It's possible that the reason Heinrich is able to get out of the tent is because, quite frankly, you still have other things to do, and he is now fine, but there are still some people who need you. There is still one nasty injury you need to personally deal with. Would you tell us what it is? Who here in this tent still has one quite nasty injury, and what are you going to do about it?
So there is one of the soldiers from the garrison has been brought in, and quite frankly, there should be very little way that this individual could survive something like this. The lower half of his right leg has been chopped or blown clean off. It's absent now, that's the important thing. His guts are hanging from a wide gash in his abdomen. They are somewhat neatly piled up on top of him, but he is in extraordinary pain. And one of his eyes has been gouged out with it. There is currently a lump of metal stuck in his face where his eye should be.
Quite the horrific injury. What are you going to do about it?
I'll look this patient over. Well, lucky for him that he is unconscious, I say, because whatever occurs next is only going to contribute to his pain in the short term. I summon some of the attendant physicians. I need you to bind off the leg wound now, with something as tight as possible. We need to stop the bleeding from there. Luckily, it's already starting to seep, but we need to save as much blood as we can from this man's insides. He clearly needs it. But speaking of which, the gut wound is probably what's going to kill him. Being blinded is awful and being dismembered is bad, but having your insides out, it tends to be the end of the line. So let's see what we can do here. I am going to examine his offal that is currently hanging out, I'm looking for injuries to it. Have any of the intestines been punctured? Is his stomach visible? Does that have any openings in it? This is the big question, because if there are injuries, they need stitching. If there are not, he basically needs stuffing and stitching, which is a very different process and will require more than one person.
It certainly will. I'd like you to make a heal roll, but I'm afraid it will be at a -20. This is a difficult one. You really will need to focus on this patient.
Okay, I get a 20, which is a success. On a -20, I have 53 in heal, so that's still a 3 degrees of success.
3 degrees of success.
So the big question is, was it just the skin and muscle of his abdomen that was torn open, or were his internal organs ripped up as well?
I think the answer is the better result. It still is difficult, Siegfrieda. You have to get your surgical tools out for this one. It's been a while, in a weird way, a while since you've actually had something like this. It almost, for a moment, reminds you of the good old days, and that councilman of Bogenhafen. But you saved this person's life. It might not be the best life, but better than being dead. And you realize it's been an hour. Your hands are covered in blood, but they're breathing.
Oh yeah. It's a terrible procedure. I have some of my books with me, and routinely I am having to show pages. This part needs to go there. The intestines need to be layered over each other as like so. No, you see, they are spilling out the other side now. They need to be going back in as close to how they looked when they were in there. And this is in part not only life-saving surgery, it's also a potential teaching moment for these apprentices who are no doubt all covered in sweat and blood and other fluids. But by some miracle, as you say, he didn't suffer any terrible injuries to his internal organs. So we cram them in there as well as we can, as tidily as we can. And then it's a case of stitching him up again. To ensure that they don't spill out the sides. Now, it's no sure thing that he's not going to succumb to some other wasting illness. The body isn't supposed to have its organs on the outside for any length of time, but at least we have saved him for now.
That you have. You find yourself briefly by a basin. You're being given water to wash your hands, wash the blood off. You notice the person doing it is, that blue-eyed apprentice. You think you vaguely remember them from a slap. How long ago was that? Hours? Months? Minutes? It's hard to tell at the moment, you're feeling a bit tired. But as they pass you, your water, they do say, amazing work, Doctor. Amazing work. Inspirational.
All credit to you for bringing it back together in such stressful circumstances. I am sorry that I was forced to strike you, but I gesture at the bowl of water. The fact that you were embracing this, let's say, radical theory that cleanliness is somehow contributory toward a patient's health, it's something I believe in. So I'm glad you feel the same way. What's your name?
Helpman.
Helpman. Well, that's an appropriate name.
That's what my mother always used to say.
Maybe, Helpman, you can assist me in extracting a chunk of metal from someone's orbital bone. It's pierced his ocular cavity and, in short, removed his eyeball. Bisecting it, I suspect. Well, pulverizing it, to be quite honest. We need to ensure that there's not any excessive blood loss and that it hasn't pierced the brain. Do you think you could do that with me?
Under your guidance, of course. Can I just say something? I know I've been hearing a lot of the soldiers out there, they're praising the Inquisitor, they're praising that Kruger fella, and that's rightfully deserved, of course, but between you and me, I've been listening to some of the apprentices. As far as we're concerned, tonight, you've been just as much a hero as they've been. I'm sure you already know that, but I just thought you should know.
Helpman, we don't do what we do for praise.
Of course. But you're gonna get it. He smiles a little at that.
Come on, let's yank this thing out of that man's eye. Gently.
As you go to do that, how are you feeling, Siegfrieda? How are these words affecting you? How is everything affecting you? This medical tent, this place where you have, tonight, saved lives. You definitely have saved more lives than would have been saved if you hadn't been here.
Oh, I feel good. I feel good that the lives have been saved, and I feel deeply hollow and pained. Pained by whatever that green flash was, that instant where I just felt the weight of, let's call it what it was, chaos just seeping into my skin, my brain. I can't just shake that off. It doesn't matter how many lives I save. So, yeah, good. Everyone here has done a good job. But it's that old feeling of doom, the one that's been hounding me for quite some time now. Right now, it is pressing in my forehead, just where my eyebrows are, making my head feel very heavy. Maybe it's just tiredness.
Maybe. There's a little bit of an itch. Somewhere. You're not quite sure where. It does seem to be getting better, though. Maybe you do just need to rest. Heinrich Schilf. Due to Siegfrieda's rapid concentration on things, you found your moment, and you were able to quickly just get out of that tent, just for a little bit. You make your way through the picket. Again, some soldiers are finally starting to be given the orders to rest, but very few. You know how it is. Many of them are going to be on the walls all night. Even though it seems safe, you feel the atmosphere in the camp is one of readiness, just in case. You make your way to the scouts' tent. Again, they're still all out, but there is one individual, a young woman, just going over some papers. What do you do?
I will arrive exactly as if I am meant to be here. That's the first step, right? Appear confident. I suppose the inquisitorial rosette is a bit bloody and battered, but it's still visible. Sergeant, a moment of your time.
The woman looks up. She has a bit of a nasty wound on her face. Something's hit her in the eye, but it seems to have been bandaged. Oh, Inquisitor, hello? How can I help?
I'm seeking information, and of course, as always, the scouts are the ones most likely to have it. Have you had the opportunity to hear reports from any of your number that were on the field?
Well, they haven't come back with the final report, but no change since the initial one. What exactly are you wanting to know? It's all a little bit confusing. As you can imagine, tonight's been very... A couple of friends died, but far less. I saw you for a moment on the field, Inquisitor. My goodness, like a real hero of Sigma.
I appreciate that very much, and there'll be time enough for praise later. Right now, there are two things I'm wondering if you've heard about. The first was an explosion that happened towards the end of the battle. Has there been any rumor, any word, any sighting of what that might have been?
Well, first of all, no idea what that could have been, sir. Apparently I've heard some reports of, what was it, the wizard, he said something, south. A few scouts have confirmed it came from the south, somewhere in the middle mountains. Doesn't really make much sense. We thought it would have come from the east, the keep.
I see. And then, on the topic of the keep, there was movement.
Oh yeah, very much so. But again, not what we were expecting. We thought things were coming from the keep, but no, those things attacked the keep as well. But no, I think it's all over now. The result is exactly as we'd expect. Granted, these things maybe did a bit better than we would have done, but from what we can see, those bastards are all very dead now.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Sergeant, and please do find the opportunity to rest when it arrives.
Oh, thank you, Inquisitor. And yeah, again, I'll let you know when your friend Kruger gets back. He just wanted to confirm a few things, but no, it's like we've always said, whatever happened out there, these bastards, they Fake Sigmar, they're not always all on the same side.
No, thanks, Sigmar, indeed. That's a bit frustrating, I'll think to myself, because, of course, I mean, the fog of war, right? No one's going to have perfect information, but at this point I would settle for any information aside from that, of which I already know.
Exactly, but you have got something, although maybe it's not as helpful as you'd think. More confusing. It sounds like, well, these things attacked this keep and they were utterly defeated. Did they have a magical explosion as well? You have to admit, there was a moment there where you were worried that you'd pull through. Apparently, this keep just dealt with the threat easily. That's worrying.
When considering how much it took us to turn back the fainting maneuver, right? Well, absent any other information, I suppose I can no longer pursue my scheme. I will return to the tent, making an affectation of being quite relieved at having relieved myself. Wait for Siegfrieda to be not occupied with paperwork or orbital surgery. And then I suppose we can address this question head on.
And so you make your way back to the tent, but finally fatigue overcomes you and you acknowledge it might be time to get some rest. Siegfrieda, even you finally feel the need to get some rest. The question is, are you going to set up a temporary cot in the medical wing, just in case? Or will you try and get some sleep in the barracks that apparently has been offered to all of you to sleep in?
Despite my role, I do need to spend some time away from the patients. So yes, I will be sleeping in the barracks.
Gurner Stark, you eventually tried to get some rest. Didn't come quick, but you were able to make yourself comfortable. You're not sure what the others are all doing, but surely it can wait till morning. You have, after all, done enough. You hope. Could you roll me a perception check at a -20?
I roll a 17, and at the -20, under 26.
So, how many success levels was that?
It's 1.
You feel a movement, and you're a little confused. Why do you suddenly feel a bit of a weight on you? As you sleepily open your eyes. Now, due to your sixth sense, I will allow you to feel all this very quickly. Something has a blade to your throat. Almost to your throat, just a millimeter away. You have something on top of you. You can't tell what it is at first. Ulgu. Giant concentrations of Ulgu are just on top of you, coming from something that is on top of you, holding a dagger straight to your throat. The only thing you can see in the darkness of your room, after all the torches you'd put them out, is 2 red eyes, just seeming to emanate from this dark force, which has a dagger to your throat. And before you can do anything, this thing simply says, "Shh, shh. No moves. No moves, human thing. Shh, shh. No moves."
I am so close to doing anything, even lashing out with a small cantrip, but the blade is just there. If whatever this is had wanted to kill me, it would have. Now, what does it want? I nervously just moisture my lips and I nod.
Good, human thing. Yes, yes. Very good. Greetings, human thing. Nice to greet you again. Yes, yes.
Again?
Yes, yes.
You were the one that you killed him in that alley.
Yes, yes. Clever wizard thing. Clever, smart. To a point. Yes, yes.
What do you want from me?
Good question. Yes, yes. What want from wizard thing? Not on list, see? No, no. Not on list yet. Kill now. Kill later. Kill stab now. Careful, human thing. Blade very poisonous sharp. Yes, yes. Very poison sharp. Not like to be cut by poison. No, no, no.
No need to cut with the poison. You're working for the Yellow Fang. You are an assassin.
Foolish wizard thing, work for Yellow Fang. Yellow Fang work for us. Not important though, not hush. Question, human thing, yes. Not happy, human thing, no. Big boom, nasty. Many human thing die today. Yes, not very nice, no.
No, the battle could have gone far better, but also worse. You know what happened? Were you part of one of the armies?
The being leans forward, and from the darkness you begin to make out the shape of a long, rat-like snout. This is one of them. Gurner, this is one of them, face to face. This is some sort of giant rat creature. But again, it's cloaked in this strange blackness, this ulgu just streaming off it slowly. Shush, silence, wizard thing. Too many questions. Problem with man things. Speak too many questions. Too many answers seeking. Not very clever, smart, no. But maybe answer one question, yes. Want to know who did nasty attack on Picket Wall Fort? Yes.
Yes.
Malice Manrak, Warlock Engineer. They one who cause problems, nastiness, pain for human things. Yes.
Why are you telling me this?
Saying among my people. Enemy of my enemy. Useful tool, weapon, yes.
Yes, I suppose you want us to go hunting for him.
Yes, clever, smart, wizard thing. Not stupid, dumb. Maybe not slice, cutthroat, no. Seek Malice Manrak. Kill Malice Manrak. Seek in Karak Siak.
Does that mean anything to me?
No. Although, roll a... What laws do you have? You have a law Middenheim, don't you? Or a law Reiklander?
I have, Reichland, yeah.
Yep, roll that, then.
No success.
Then that means nothing to you. The being kind of twitches its nose and sighs. Galaxiac, dwarven hole, stinking hole in mountain, yes.
That's where he is hiding?
Yes. You feel a movement, and you see the creature's tail, for it does have one, twitches in the air and drops something then on the floor by you. It's hard to see what it is in the dark. Have map route for you, yes. Nice, sneaky route map to follow.
Yes, thank you. Were you And I think to myself that this thing clearly don't want to answer any questions. He just wants to give me a bit of information because he wants me to do what they're doing. I have no idea if this is a good idea or not. I suppose I have to bring it up with the others somehow, or unless to decide to make this personal. I try anyway. What's in that tower? What are they holding in there? What do you want from them?
Location of weapon, yes. Location of doom, yes. Many foes for poor man thing, yes.
Warpstone?
Yes, of course, stupid man thing. And while one hand stays on that knife by your throat, you suddenly just feel a painful flick in your I, from another hand.
Why?
Thought wizard, Gurner, Stark, man thing, clever, smart, like mentor, not stupid dumb.
Yeah, I don't care too much about what this being thinks of me.
No, why would you?
I'm not about to forgive it either for killing, not my mentor, my predecessor, I suppose, more like, in Middenheim. My senior, supposedly, that's what it was. He had many strings that he was pulling at, and this one wanted to stop him. Why did you kill him?
Roll a charm check. Might not seem that appropriate, but you've been very cooperative. Maybe you can get something more by being a good hostage.
Well, this feels like an interesting time to try and re-roll a bad roll. Let's see if we can get anything. Ooh, I roll a 6 under 44.
That's an extremely good roll. For a moment, the creature is silent, but then it chuckles again, seeming highly amused by your questions. Maybe it thinks you're funny. Stupid man thing. Ask questions! Too many questions, too much sneaking, snooping, too much skulking. Gurner Stark, maybe soon die too. But maybe not. If you are useful. Useful tool, yes, yes. Man thing wish to be useful tool or wish to die. Can arrange.
Was that what he was to you? Was he a useful tool for a while?
No. Opposite of useful tool. Sneaky fool, deserving of death. As all are who ask questions, sneak in darkness, poke noses in like little rats, must be removed. Question for you, Gurner Stark, is, are you a rat who must be removed, killed, yes? Or useful tool? Maybe not death for you then, not yet.
And I'm a bit nervous at this point. This clearly is a very capable assassin, using somehow blends of magic with his own skills and driving an agenda. I'm not even sure myself what to think, but it's clearly someone of the arch enemy. Do I want to be a tool? Do I have a choice? Can I somehow make use of it?
Would you like to roll an intuition check?
I'll use my last fortune for today and hope I don't have to try and avoid getting killed over something else. No, unfortunately, no success.
This is a very difficult situation. The problem is, even if you wanted to, the risk of danger is extremely high. Maybe you might be able to bash this creature away quickly. Maybe you won't get cut by this alleged poison blade. But what if you do? How soon will help be able to get to you? Oh, so how has this thing got here? You can see there are soldiers outside. How? Unless, of course, well, the Ulgu. How is it able to use Ulgu in this way? This is a very dangerous opponent. It does seem, however, that it's given you a location, a name, a route. The question here is, what's the greater threat? This thing with a weapon, it just said, in the south, or this foe before you right now? But again, everything else it's saying is hard to determine what its intentions are.
Yeah. How many factions are there? And who wants what? Well, it's clear that this one is operating in the dark, attacking targets, whereas what came towards the picket was a mass attempt at an invasion. Surely that must be a priority, if that's what they were trying to do. Yes, we'd better seek this Malice Manrak out. Stop him. Stop whatever he's doing.
So what say, man thing? Go and slay Malice Manrak. Go stop bad things, save puny, stinking empire. Or die now, yes?
Fine. I'll be a tool. We'll find this stinking dwarven hole and root this Malice Manrak out.
Good, man thing. Yes, yes. Now, listen carefully. Need to convince heroes of Middenheim. Need to convince, speak, diplomatize, make them think like you. Yes, yes, very important. You can even speak of this. But be careful, man-thing. Keep speaking of this to those not needed, weaklings, fools, minions, soldiers. Yes, yes, keep prattling lips, keep making noise. Deal will then be off. We'll come and slay you. Being very nice to Man-Thing this night. I am, yes, yes.
Clearly. Alright. You be off. I'll talk to the rest.
You don't think there's any need to roll on that last thing it said? It seemed to suggest that you can tell your friends, if you want, all the truth about this. But maybe there'll be consequences if you start just telling everybody that a rat assassin came in through your window and threatened you and gave you information. To be fair, if you think about it, that could be detrimental to you in many ways.
Yeah. As if I wasn't a target for suspicion already. It's just getting better. I don't really relax and breathe out until it's gone with its blade.
It doesn't take long. You blink. For a moment you think you see some movement as this thing scuttles literally towards the only open window in this little barracks. And then it's gone. Just gone, as if it just crawled and climbed out of the building and just vanished, leaving behind traces of Ulgu.
How does that work? Is it a long, ongoing spell, or are they just... do they have a natural way of channeling it somehow? Is he doing it, or someone else?
Make a law magic check.
Ooh, that is a success, yes.
You're not sure, but one thing struck you. It seemed very focused on the being, on their back. It could have been a spell, but could it also have been an item? Was it wearing something that did that? You're not sure why that comes to you, but suddenly it seems logical. It was almost like it had some sort of cloak of shadow. Not that you've ever heard of a spell like that, though.
Interesting. Perhaps, yes. Could it have had something to do with an artifact of some sort? I sit up in my bed and I light a little lamp.
And light comes, and you can see the small pouch on the ground.
I go over there, lift it up.
And inside, it's a very crudely drawn map. I think it's of the Middle Mountains. And there's this route, which doesn't seem to make any sense. It doesn't go over roads, it just goes... It's like a route through the Middle Mountains to a certain point. But you don't know how the route works. But then again, maybe you need to be actually on the route for it to make sense. But it does go directly to a point. A point somewhere deep in the Middle Mountains.
Perhaps it's one of those native things that if you're there, you'll know what it means on the route itself. It's like trying to describe the way out in the farmholes where I grew up, or the forests. Not everything are roads, of course, not even paths, but if you know how to go, you'll know where the trees are slightly less dense, and probably in this case, the cliffs and juttings from the ground.
Indeed. For now, you simply study this map, and perhaps return to sleep, as the night continues.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the legendary campaign The Enemy Within for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition, published by Cubicle 7. In this fourth part of the series, we are tackling The Horned Rat. Joining us as players in this series are none other than Aaron Hammonds from Queen's Court Games and our dear friend Matthew Dawkins. The music was made by Flowers for Body Snatchers, Wordclock, Metatron Omega, Aegir Solus, Apocryphus, Halgrath, and Northumbria, featuring a number of collaborations with other artists, and was used with permission from their label, Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient for your gaming table. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Cameron, Graham Barey, Doug Thomson, and Lily for their generous support. And we would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to our Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay bonus campaign, Rough Nights and Hard Days, as well as bonus campaigns for Cult of Divinity Lost and Call of Cthulhu there. On top of that, we also offer early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as the champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember that Skaven are definitely not real, and even if they were, our Emperor has already dealt with that threat.